Hello viewer, welcome to Health Talk Show. He says, health is not valued until sickness comes in. Today, I am your host for the show, and with the show today, I'm having an amazing guest who is going to introduce himself. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Ali Kapusia, a nephrology nurse at Kenyatta National Hospital for the last 24 years. Yes.
Thank you, Ali. Today, as he has said, is a nephrology nurse. Nephrology, for those who don't understand, is a topic that deals with the kidney or renal. So today's talk, we're going to talk about kidney failure. So from Ali, as you already has said, he has worked for more than 24 years in Kenyatta National Hospital dealing with the kidney issues. So I believe you're going to learn a lot today from him, from his experience. And remember to hit our social media handles, GBS TV Africa, our SMS line, 21144. Welcome, Ali.
Thank you.
Let me start by asking, what is kidney? To a lay person.
Good. Kidney is an organ. It's a body organ. Like there's so many, the body is made up of many organs, and one of them is the kidney. The kidney is positioned at the back. You'll be surprised if I asked you today where your kidney is. Chances are you'll point the wrong place. Where is it?
At the flanks here, at the back?
It's up. It's up here, right behind. It's back there. Just below, above the ribs. So it's well covered. They're usually two. The kidneys are two. These are two organs. They are bean-shaped and almost the size of your fist. And they're usually two. I said they're usually two because it's not a must that they are two. Sometimes you are born with one kidney, and it's called lone kidney. As I said, it's a body organ. There's nothing that is in the body just for cosmetic. God had put everything and assigned a purpose for that organ. And the kidney has got a variety of functions. In fact, it's one of the busiest of organs in the body, that if the body has to function normally, the kidney has to be involved. Otherwise, everything else will go wrong. The heart will go wrong, the bones will go wrong, the skin will go wrong, the pressures will go wrong, like literally everything, if the kidney is not functioning. So the kidney, in a nutshell, plays a role in volume control. That's fluid control. That's why if you take a lot of fluid, the worst that can happen to you if your kidneys are normal is that you keep on running to the washroom, okay? Because the kidney knows that this is a lot, there's a lot of fluid, and therefore you need to remove it. Otherwise, the heart will fail to pump. The pump will fail to pump because if you have a lot of fluid, then your heart will fail because it can't pump a lot. So the kidney regulates that function. The other function of the kidney is excretory organ. Excretion is like that's the sewage system, okay, kind of the body. It picks all that the cells, every dirt. Most of it just goes. Anything that goes to the blood gets pumped, passes through the kidney, and by there the kidney receives the most blood of any cardiac output. That's a heart output, 25%. As small as it is, once bits like this, 25% goes to the kidney. Can you imagine that small organ as compared to the rest of the body? So it cleans that. Your brain will produce some waste products. Every other cell will produce products. We will be having dead cells. Our cells keep dying. Our muscles keep breaking every other day. As even as we talk like this in this show, they are breaking. and they produce toxins called creatinine, and they get deposited. You know, God made it beautifully that seamlessly these toxins get into the blood and get transported to the kidney. At the kidney level, then the kidney have to remove what is excess and just remains with what's normal. The other thing is the acidity and the alkalinity of the body. Say that you don't become alkaline or you don't become acidic, the whole system. So the kidney does that. It's a buffer system, you know. And then it plays part in red blood cell production. It has a sensor, for lack of a better word, it has a sensor that senses the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood that goes through the kidney. And if that blood has less oxygen in it, what happens is that it sends a hormone called erythropoietin, sends it to the bone marrow, tells it, please, bone marrow, produce more red blood cells. This organism might die. I mean, the whole you might die because it has no enough oxygen carrying capacity. Then, of course, it plays part in bone formation, the bones, so that even our calcium, we talk of vitamin D, for instance. When you go, we say it's from the sun and all these stories, which is true. But then for it to be active and useful, vitamin D has to be activated at the kidney. So when it's not activated, when you do not have your kidneys, it's not activated. And therefore you start having brittle bones, and you can be in bed in the evening and wake up in the morning with with fractures, called pathological fractures. It plays part in, it has a role in contractility of the muscles, smooth muscles. When I talk of smooth muscle, you need just to think about the heart, because its muscles are smooth. So that contraction of smooth muscles, including that of the heart, by balancing electrolytes, mostly the potassium. If it's not balanced, your heart gets pseudoparalysis, false paralysis. In a sense, you die.
Those are so many functions. Of the small organ, but lots of function.
Sure.
Now, just out of curiosity, you say that people normally have two kidneys. And you said there are some who normally have one, a lone kidney. How do I know that I have one kidney? Is there a way, or if I have one kidney, it just acts like two? In those individuals who normally have one kidney, do they just act like two, or how will I know?
Yeah, exactly. So it is not a hard thing, but it's usually until you are curious or you are very good with your health, you are health conscious, then you will know. Like all of us would know, okay? You would know, even if you wanted to know it now, after this show, you can just take yourself to an imaging facility, and they can tell you whether you have both kidneys or you have a lone kidney. And the issue of knowing usually becomes accidental.
Okay.
For people to know that they have they have lone kidneys. I think we all walk thinking we have both kidneys. It may not be true. It may not be. But sometimes you may bump into that accidentally when you are when you are going through your medical checks, and somebody just identifies, wait, where's your other kidney? Okay, whether you donated it or something happened. Only to realize that it was only one. Congenital. You're just born with it. And the reason I'm saying it's accidental is because you cannot be sick. There's nothing shows that you have one kidney. Nothing.
So it just acts like somebody has two kidneys.
Yes, as long as you have one functional kidney, that's as good. You don't. Okay, it may be wrong to say you don't need the other one, but yes, it functions normally. And because the kidney, when we are talking about the kidney, we are not talking about the tissue itself, the kidney tissue. I mean, like, this is kidney. We are talking about the functional part of that kidney. which are the nephrons. And one kidney has a lot of nephrons. Some of them sometimes can just stay lazy. And if you are given some medications to activate maybe micturition, you may end up passing a lot of, going to short calls so frequent, because now most of the nephrons are open. But usually most of it are just in latent phase, but they're about 1.2 million, imagine, in one.
Per kidney.
Per kidney, they're about 1.2. That's a lot of nephrons. So it's just like you have all these rooms in this place, and you are one person. So you may decide you cannot sleep all these rooms all these rooms at night. Maybe you sleep in one, but when need be, when your visitors, all can be opened. That's when there's need. So you can't know if somebody's really having one kidney, as if they're functioning.
Thank you, Ali.
Yeah.
Now, to our talk of the day. Kidney failure. What are the causes of kidney failure? This person has been normal, then all of a sudden, develops some health issues, complications, goes to a doctor, says your kidneys have failed. What are the causes?
Causes of kidney failure. Kidney, first of all, like we said, it's a tissue. It's an organ. And you realize that people go to hospitals because their organs are sick. It may not be one organ. It can be the eye. It's still an organ. It can be the ear. There are varied reasons. But I can say a few things about what causes a kidney. The kidney failure. Kidney failure are caused by two major conditions. And this is very important, especially to the public, and I think I can say that really looking at the camera, that kidney failure, especially the chronic one, because there are two types of kidney. You can have a chronic kidney disease or an acute one. An acute means you've been okay all through, and something just happens between hours, minutes, hours, or days, and you lose your kidney function. So that one's acute. And acute, usually, if you are quick, it's potentially reversible. That word potential is very important. Potentially reversible, meaning it may, if you get the right attention. Sometimes it doesn't. It may, so it's potentially reversible.
So if you diagnose it very early,
yes,
you can salvage it. You can save the kidney.
Yes. And then the chronic part.
What are the causes of this acute? What are some of the causes?
Okay. The acute cases, kidney failure, is that you've been okay. The kidney, like we said, we started by saying that it receives a lot of blood, okay, from the cardiac output. When your heart beats, a lot goes to the kidney. So if this, for any reason, your kidney does not receive enough blood, maybe because of dehydration, you are so dry, vomiting,
bleeding, can it cause?
Vomiting, bleeding, uncontrolled bleeding, you can bleed when then it gets controlled. You vomit, you become so dehydrated, diarrhea, and until you become dehydrated. All this. The body is very interesting. That God, when you fall down, when you are collapsing, when you are dehydrated, it's because nature is very beautiful. Nature makes you fall down so that the little blood that is still in you flows to the brain, which at least to keep you alive. It flows to the brain and the heart and the lungs. They're called vital organs. But the rest of the system is denied. There's serious rationing. I'm almost getting denied blood completely. This constriction of blood vessels and all this. And unfortunately, our kidney, which is used to so much blood, gets involved in this process of being denied circulation. When that happens, tissues start to die. Because of what? There would be no food going to the kidney tissue because blood carries the food.
No oxygen.
There would be no oxygen. I mean, there will be a lot of toxicity getting stuck there. So in the process, the kidney start dying. So if you do not control your fluid by giving fluid back, say that this patient or other individual gets hydrated, then it goes to kidney failure.
Okay. That will be acute now.
Acute.
Okay.
So this person
So
would
vomiting, we should avoid vomiting, the excessive diarrhea, and
Yeah.
we should manage them and control on time.
Yes.
Because it may lead to. Okay.
Yes, exactly. So it's not, we can't really avoid it altogether. It's not.
At least manage on time.
Immediately do it. And of course, in the hospital, the first thing usually, the best practice is so somebody comes to the hospital vomiting, or even when they're not vomiting, the population may be wondering, why are we put on lines, okay? Lines. And there's no medication. So you ask somebody, and somebody tells you, I was put some line here, it is still here, no medicine, okay? It may be a bone of contention, but those lines are not for fun. They are put so that when you still have your lines, because something can happen and we cannot assess your lines, and you cannot even hydrate you, and you have problems. So that has to be there.
Okay.
Especially our mothers when they're going to labor, very important, very important. So anybody working in the maternity, very important. Anytime you see a mother coming, think of kidney. Very important. Protect their
because
kidneys.
they lose a lot of blood.
They lose a lot of blood. Mm-hmm. So think about them when those who are working at children hospitals or handling children. When a child or mothers who have young ones, when you see somebody dehydrated, mtoto amepata diarrhea, they start diarrheaing, they start vomiting, take them when they still have their vessels being seen so that they can be dehydrated.
That's a good take-home message.
Yeah.
Now, chronic kidney disease or chronic kidney failure, what are the causes?
Yeah, chronic kidney disease. The chronic kidney disease really, what it means is that the failure, the kidney failure has happened over time, you didn't know. The tissues get destroyed, you didn't know. You still think you're okay until you go to the hospital and it is tested, the kidney function has really gone down and nothing, it's not reversible. But chronic is an interesting word. You can lose your kidney function over time, slowly, okay? There's a trend that if you're going to the clinic and it's being seen, the last time it was like this, the last time it was here, and keeps on drastically, keeping on failing, okay? You're losing it. So, but chronic kidney disease, it may not lead you to any complication. If you control it early enough, managed it, you can keep it there. You can delay kidney treatment, like other things that we may discuss later. So you may delay it completely. You may be just taking, it can be managed at the clinic and you go home and you keep maintaining it.
Do we have medical conditions which might lead to this chronic kidney disease, which somebody maybe might be having, maybe our viewer outside there may be having? Would you kindly share with us what are some of these conditions which might lead to?
Okay, yes, sure. And I mentioned something earlier. It didn't come out. This is the time it should be coming out. That some conditions are real risk factors to kidney disease. And we need to keep checking them and make sure that we are keeping them under control. One of the conditions is diabetes, sukari, okay, blood sugars. So when you're diabetic, research has shown that you are the number one cause of chronic kidney disease and end stage. You know, there are chronic and end stage. Mm-hmm. End stage is whereby you have No tissue. I mean, it's just a tissue, nothing. It's not doing anything, nothing at all. Your kidney is just a tissue. So, diabetes, uncontrolled diabetes. If people forget anything in this, sure, let them not forget uncontrolled. That word, uncontrolled.
By this we mean the sugar are not being, or
Yes.
what do you mean exactly? Do you mean?
Yes, good. Uncontrolled diabetes, meaning you could be having, you have diabetes. It is not given that you have to lose your kidney. But if you do not manage your diabetes well, you will surely lose your kidney if you do not manage your diabetes well. Because diabetes, what it does is that you lose your vessels with diabetes, uncontrolled diabetes. You lose your vessels over time. They get clogged. And the vessels of the kidney are not spared. So they get clogged too. And therefore the tissue itself, the whole kidney dies.
So the blood vessels are clogged with the sugar.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the glucose inside
yeah,
it.
with the fat, all the complications of diabetes. Blocks it completely. So just like a diabetic person would have problem with, they would not even feel their, they lose their senses, they start having wounds because blood is not circulating there, and all this in their legs and peripherals. It's the same thing. The blood vessels, the tiny blood vessels of the kidneys start dying. You lose them. And once you lose the blood to any tissue, that tissue dies. So, so time is of essence. It is when you get diagnosed with your diabetes. When was it? You know, if I can borrow a word that trauma people, in the profession of trauma, those who dealing with trauma, they tell you, trauma will tell you, time is tissue. Time is tissue. So it's about bleeding. Because the longer you take controlling bleeding, you're killing that tissue that's being supplied by this blood. So diabetes, the earlier you diagnose yourself with diabetes and of course treat it, the better. Then you'll control those complications of diabetes, and therefore it won't touch your kidney or any other complication. You will be okay, you know. So the issue is, which got to change our culture. In the place I come from, I come from a community that's very interesting. They tell you, when you tell them, let's go to clinic, a man will tell you, no, mimi si mama. You know, the ladies who are expectant, carrying their lactating baby, nursing mothers and all this, and maybe probably the under fives are the only ones going to clinic. It's not true. We have to change that culture. We have to change that culture and know that you better go to the hospital when you still take yourself.
Wow.
Because others will take you.
Hello, viewer. I know by now we have learned a lot, and we are still learning a lot from our guest today. What I got is uncontrolled diabetes can lead to kidney failure. We are taking a short break. We'll be right back after the break. Don't touch that dial.